Ahead on Q2, Billings trees targeted by DEI.
I don't think anybody could have predicted what was going to happen.
A hefty check was given to the city to plant and maintain trees, but now the money already allocated by Congress is blocked. We'll explain. Plus, a Montana National Guard helicopter lands on a ranch near Big Timber, and now airmen are looking at possible charges. And Code Girls unite.
It's amazing to see the transformation.
A group of sixth graders now state champions after creating their own app. The MTN 4:30 News starts right now. Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday. I'm Andrea Lutz. The city of Billings is being forced to give up $1 million in federal grant money pulled back in the name of DEI. This as the city already struggles with its own major funding challenges. The money was intended for planting and maintaining trees and was already allocated by Congress. Tonight, I look at what Billings is losing.
On a busy corner.
Busy streets like this, for example.
In a city where everyone's rushing.
I mean, that truck just went by pretty quick.
You might not notice it, but a line of trees could make a difference.
Boulevard trees have been shown to slow traffic, but here's another one.
Talking trees is something Gail Lamb was ready to do.
I don't think anybody could have predicted what was going to happen.
The city of Billings was awarded $1 million from the Inflation Reduction Act to plant and maintain trees in underserved areas.
Yeah, these are old established neighborhoods.
Gail was tasked with making it happen.
This grant was going to help people who probably could use a little bit of help.
But in late April, the USDA rescinded the grant, citing its ties to DEI initiatives, a topic now at odds with the current administration.
That was considered to be an unfair leveraging of resources.
Steve McConnell, who recently retired after years as the city's forester, applied for the grant.
What's surprising to me is that the public was never really informed that we got this grant. It was never allowed to build any excitement over this grant.
Now it's gone.
No, we envisioned having a sea of trees from, City Hall to Metro.
In the Bird District, Connolly says trees could have cooled hot pavement, lowered crime, and boosted property values.
It's kind of just rotting.
And along Terry Avenue, old decaying boulevard trees could have been removed or trimmed at no cost to homeowners.
These are just ones that probably homeowners don't notice.
Even with the funding gone, questions remain. Why was money approved by Congress pulled? And can the city get it back?
I'm still hoping that we can maybe convince the powers that be that we'd like to have the money back and we can do some good with it.
Well, the city of Billings says it's not losing hope. Director Gavin Wolcher with Parks and Rec sent me this statement saying the city's exploring options to appeal the decision to terminate the grant. The importance of this grant cannot be overstated. It truly benefits so many in our community. The Sweetgrass County Sheriff's Office is on a case you definitely don't hear about every day. According to 71-year-old Linda McMullen, a Montana National Guard helicopter landed on her private ranch in the Crazy Mountain foothills with the airmen allegedly stealing elk antlers. McMullen said she was not home at the time, but neighbors saw the helicopter and contacted her. The sheriff of Sweetgrass County says they're investigating along with Fish, Wildlife and Parks, and possible charges of trespassing and theft could follow. A Laurel man who broke into police cars stealing guns will spend the next 3 years in prison. 28-year-old Jacob Berger pled guilty in December to possession of stolen firearms. In March of last year, Berger spent 10 days stealing items from the inside of 5 different police cars, including a 12-gauge shotgun and ammunition. He was identified by surveillance video and eventually admitted to the crimes. 8 other guns already reported stolen were also found in his garage. A district court judge in Missoula has struck down a 2023 state law prohibiting gender-affirming procedures for transgender youth in Montana. But the decision is already going to be appealed. MTN's Jonathan Anbarian has a closer look at the ruling.
Senate Bill 99 has been on hold since 2023, as groups like the ACLU of Montana sought a ruling that it violated fundamental rights. This week, a district judge in Missoula sided with the plaintiffs.
There's no room for the legislature to try to pass bills based on discriminatory intent because our right to privacy is strong.
District Judge Jason Marks held a hearing last month as both sides sought an immediate judgment in their favor. The state of Montana defended the law as a reasonable way to protect minors from what they said could be the long-term harms of gender transition procedures. But plaintiffs said it violated transgender youth's right to privacy and equal protection. Marks ruled Wednesday that the state hadn't met their burden to show a bona fide health risk from these procedures. Akila Dearnose, executive director of the ACLU of Montana, said the decision was a relief for those who challenged the law.
For those years that the law was paused, there was still great uncertainty about what their future would be if we didn't win the case, and for some people, that could look like whether or not they could continue to reside in Montana, because the ban on health care at issue in this case was life-saving care.
But this ruling is not going to be the end of the case. A spokesperson for Attorney General Austin Knudson's office said in a statement, quote, "Yet again, the Montana judiciary ignored the will of Montanans and went out of its way to advance the woke agendas of their political allies before the state could get a fair trial. We plan to appeal this outrageous rejection of common sense that puts the well-being of Montana's most vulnerable children at stake." While SB 99 remained on hold, the legislature passed several other bills this session that address gender transition procedures. One of them, signed into law by Governor Greg Gianforte, would allow people who underwent those procedures as minors to sue for damages. The ACLU is also challenging House Bill 121, which requires people to use the bathroom that aligns with their sex at birth. In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
A new mobile health care program has arrived in Billings, and it's more affordable than ever. Today, Riverstone Health announced the addition of the Wellness on Wheels, with services available to anyone, regardless of their ability to pay. The mobile program has 2 wheelchair-accessible exam rooms to expand its access to primary care in Yellowstone County. Services include checkups, immunizations, sports physicals, and much more. The bus will use area school parking lots as community hubs, and there's also dental and behavioral health services to be added later. The bus is funded through a grant. It's the end of an era for the Billings Gazette as the building on North Broadway is selling to Stockman Bank. The news operation and its employees will vacate the property and move to another office building, and the paper will be printed in Bozeman. The consolidation is similar across the state to other papers out of Great Falls, Missoula, and Butte. Stockman Bank says they plan to make the building their insurance wing to house 60 employees. President Donald Trump has arrived in Qatar for the second leg of his Middle East trip. Before leaving Saudi Arabia, he met with the new president of Syria, a former Islamist militant with ties to al-Qaeda. Taureen Small has more on the meeting.
President Trump is finding a warm welcome as he continues his Middle East trip, using each stop to make deals and reshape U.S. policy in the region. The president lifted long-standing economic sanctions against Syria ahead of his meeting with that country's leader, an insurgent who came to power after overthrowing the dictator Bashar al-Assad.
Tough guy, strong pass, very strong pass fighter. But he's got a real shot at pulling it together.
President Trump deflected questions about possibly lifting sanctions on Iran, but says he would like to strike a deal for the country to end its nuclear program.
For that to happen, it must stop sponsoring terror, halt its bloody proxy wars, and permanently and verifiably cease its pursuit of nuclear weapons. They cannot have a nuclear weapon.
Trump's stop in Qatar included Boeing CEO, where they finalized a deal for the country to buy U.S.-made jets.
It's the largest order of jets in the history of Boeing. That's pretty good. It's over $200 billion.
The president is scheduled to continue his tour of the Middle East Thursday, but did not rule out diverting to Turkey, where talks between Russia and Ukraine are set to get underway. That is, if Russian President Vladimir Putin also attends.
Well, I don't know if he's showing up. I know he would like me to be there, and that's a possibility. If we could end the war, I'd be thinking about that. Now, tomorrow we'll book that. You understand that?
The Kremlin has yet to say if Putin plans to attend the talks, and President Trump is scheduled to travel to the United Arab Emirates. Taureen Small, CBS News, the White House.
After a bit of a break during the day, Billings starting to pick up a few more showers. You see these orange flickers. That's where we're seeing lightning strikes as well across the area, and some higher elevation snow continuing to move in around the Bighorns. Now, as we take a look at the big picture, that low centered in over the Beartooths, the Absarokas, as we take it through time, we'll continue to watch more showers across Montana, but look off towards the Dakotas. Some of those rainfall totals across areas close to Bismarck could be about 4 inches.
A group of 6th graders in Billings are proving girls can do anything, even at a young age. After winning $5,000, they're now representing Montana at a coding competition in Washington, D.C. As our Matt Carmack learns, the girls are coding their own apps, all while having some fun.
Girls being girls.
The transformation from the beginning of the year to when they appear at confirmation or at competition is really phenomenal to watch.
These are the Will James Middle School Code Girls. And Code Girls Tristan, Haley, and Osa are celebrating their big win.
It was cool. You were like screaming and jumping in a circle.
That's because they just won the Code Girls United App Challenge for their project Schedule.
And so it was like for keeping track of like school, like if you had assignments, we kind of targeted at like teens.
An app the girls designed to help students stay on task and stick to their assignments.
I like that they're trying to get girls together to code together, and that they're trying to teach like female students new things.
They start the beginning of the year and we teach them, we build 4 different apps with them and teach them coding basics in MIT App Inventor.
Also in Code Girls at Will James is Ava, Olivia, and Kinley. These 3 designed an app called Perfect Product.
Like there's a search screen, there's a profile screen.
There's a barcode scanner.
There's a barcode scanner. So barcode scanner works as you get a product in the store, say like you're interested in it, you scan the barcode and it'll give you the top allergens.
While this group didn't take home a title, they still love their experience learning how to code and meeting other girls their age with similar interest.
But I like coding and sort of things. I like making things. So then I joined in 4th grade, and then I've just stayed in it because I really like it.
With many of them likely pursuing STEM in the future.
I wasn't gonna do like coding for a career. I was maybe thinking of being like a math teacher or something.
When I get older, I want to be like a scientist or like a chemist.
I'm thinking I want to be like a computer science engineer.
3, 2, 1, go girls!
In Billings, Matt Carmack, MTN News.